you can. And go to the other superpower, which was the Romans. And where he had to go to Sham in Syria. And it was 5 days journey. And he called the people and he said, which is the fastest route? They said to him, one route is south, is the fastest but is the longest. And the second route is the north, is fast as well, but there you're going to meet the Roman garrisons. So it's going to be a problem. Khalid radiallahu anhu said, no, I want even a faster route. And at that time, there was a person called Rafi bin Ammara. He came and he said, I know another route, but this route is so dangerous, a single man cannot cross this route. I don't know about an army, a single man cannot cross this. Why? Because for 120 miles there's no water. And Khalid radiallahu anhu, being Khalid radiallahu anhu said, guess what? I'd like to go through that route. They said, no, Khalid, you can't go through that route. There's no water there, the army, you're going to kill us. Khalid said, no, Amirul Mu'mineen, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu has said to me, get to Abu Ubaidah as quick as you can. And I'm going to follow that. And he went as quick as he could. And they got to a place, and then they started digging there, and the water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided water for them. And when they got there, they got together, and obviously they had to plan, because the Roman army was not a small army. They had to think of their tactics. They have to see how they're going to take over and how they're going to fight with these armies. First they got to a place called Hira, and this was the capital of Iraq at that time. And whoever took control of that would take control of all of Arabia. So it was a very crucial point. So the governor, when he heard Khalid radiallahu anhu is coming, he sent his son with the army, go and take care of Khalid. When they encountered Khalid radiallahu anhu finished him. Khalid radiallahu anhu, killed him straight away. And when the news went to the king, that to the governor, that Khalid has killed your son, he got depressed. He got depressed that, normally after me, my son is the one who's supposed to inherit everything. Now my son is gone, what do I do? And he became depressed. And he locked himself in a fortress. And then the Muslims, they surrounded this fortress, and they were forced to give up. And they were forced to surrender to Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu. At that same time, there was a person known as Abdul Masih. He came to Khalid radiallahu anhu. And he came to meet Khalid radiallahu anhu. And when he came to Khalid radiallahu anhu, he saw a little bottle with him. And he asked Khalid radiallahu anhu, asked him, what is this? He said, this is such a deadly poison. I keep it with me. If anyone tries to do anything, I will drink this and kill myself. I will not let the Muslim dishonor me in any way. Khalid radiallahu anhu took this poison. And Khalid radiallahu anhu, he said, Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. In the name of Allah, through whose name nothing can harm you in the heavens and the earth. And he drank all this. And he drank it, and nothing happened to Khalid radiallahu anhu. And when Abdul Shams, he saw this, he was rubbing his eyes that this was such a powerful poison that if you just open it, just by inhaling it, many people could die. Nothing happened to Khalid radiallahu anhu. He quickly went back to his fortresses, and they were preparing to fight and that. And he said, listen, I advise you give up, go and listen to what he's saying, and don't try to fight with him. Why? Because this is a nation, they have so much strong yaqeen and iman and faith in their religion, in their faith, that he drank the whole poison bottle like we have sweets. He just had it like this. These people are very dangerous. And then came the battle of Ajnadain, the army 3 times as big. I'm going to quickly try to wrap over, inshallah. Give me a few minutes, inshallah. Then came the battle of Damascus. And in this one, I will leave out the battle of Damascus as a bit of detail. Thereafter, when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu passed away, Umar radiallahu anhu took over. And first, Umar radiallahu anhu, he demoted Khalid radiallahu anhu, and thereafter he reinstated him. And the reason Umar radiallahu anhu, he did this, because a lot of the Muslims were traveling from all over to be in the army of Khalid radiallahu anhu. Why? Because this myth had gone around that, wherever Khalid fights, no one will ever lose. And the people started thinking that everything is done through Khalid. And Umar radiallahu anhu was strong on the point of Aqidah. He wanted to change the people's Aqidah, to make them, remind them that Khalid is not doing everything. It is Allah who is doing it. And because of that, few times Khalid radiallahu anhu was demoted, and Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu anhu was made the commander, and in that way. Thereafter, the final battle which took place, which was the Battle of Yarmouk. The Battle of Yarmouk. And this was the battle of the cross against the crescent. The Muslims against the Romans. In this, 240,000 of the army, enemy's army, and the Muslims were only 41,000. But even then, the 240,000 were scared. Why? Because they knew that Khalid is still in that army. And then the Romans, they sent spies. When they sent the spies to look at the army of the Muslims, the spies came back and they said, these people, during daytime they fight us. At night, they're performing tahajjud. At night, they're performing tahajjud. These were the warriors. These were the mujahideen. That in the daytime, they were fighting. In the night time, they were praying. They were praying. They weren't saying, we're too tired, we've done a long shift, we've got to sleep now. They were in war in the daytime, and nighttime they were praying, prostrating in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the Romans, they sent a person called Jarja. And I was checking up, Jarja in English is George. So they sent George. When they sent George, he spoke to Khalid radiallahu anhu. He said to Khalid, tell me, is it true that Allah sent a sword to the Prophet, and the Prophet gave this sword to you? And Khalid then said, no, this is not true. But instead the story is, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given me the title of Saifullah. And then Khalid radiallahu anhu gave dawah to him, and he accepted Islam. And then he performed 2 rakat salah with Khalid, and thereafter he fought on the side of the believers, and he was martyred. And this battle, which was the Battle of Yarmouk, it was a 6-day battle. And on the first day, Khalid radiallahu anhu himself alone, single-handedly, he killed 100 of the enemy. And Khalid radiallahu anhu on the first day, he broke 9 swords. He broke 9 swords on the first day. And on that Battle of Yarmouk, Khalid radiallahu anhu's hat fell down. Khalid radiallahu anhu's hat, it fell down. And never before did the Muslims see Khalid panic the way they saw him panic that time. Why? Because Khalid, even in the army, wherever he was very calm. He was very calm. But at that time they saw him panicking, asking, where's my hat? Where's my hat? And then he found his hat, he put it back. After someone asked him that, why were you panicking so much? He said that in that hat is not just the hat. In the hat is the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says in the Hajj, when Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed the Hajj and he cut his hair, I took some of the hair of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, oh Khalid, what are you going to do with my hair? He said, I am going to get strength. I'm going to get Allah to give me strength through the barakah of the hair of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, he took the hair of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he sewed it into his hat. And he says, Wallahi, since then, through the barakah of the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have always won all the battles. And I had to make sure I get my hat. And this was the Battle of Yarmouk. And then on the 4th day, Ikramah bin Abi Jahl, he went and he was martyred. And he was one of the best friends of Khalid radiallahu anhu. And in this same battle, Mahran, who was one of the generals of the army, he mocked Khalid radiallahu anhu. He said, oh Khalid, you poor people, you've come, why don't you go back? I will give you some gold, and I will give you 10 dinars each. Go back, and next year I'll send you some more money. And Khalid said, no, you got the facts wrong. We are a people who drink the blood of our enemies. And we have heard that your blood, the Roman blood, is very delicious. So we want your blood. And when Mahran heard that, he was shocked. And then Khalid radiallahu anhu, they won this battle as well. And this was the last battle of Khalid radiallahu anhu. Why? Because after this battle, Amirul Mu'mineen Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu did not allow Khalid radiallahu anhu to fight. Did not allow Khalid radiallahu anhu to fight. And I mentioned before, there was a hikmah behind it, why Amirul Mu'mineen Umar radiallahu anhu didn't allow him to do this. When Khalid radiallahu anhu was, the time when Khalid radiallahu anhu was not allowed to go into the battlefield, he was very saddened. But end of the day, I mentioned, he said, Sam'an wa ta'a. I have to follow the commands of the leader. This was a quality, that I have to follow the commands of the leader, who is Amirul Mu'mineen Umar radiallahu anhu. This is a quality, again, another quality which is very, very important, to have the quality of obeying Allah's messenger and obeying the Amir. And then Khalid radiallahu anhu was on his deathbed. And he was crying. And since that year, he called it the year of women. Why? Because he couldn't go to the battlefield. And he was really sad. Why? He wanted shahada more than anything else. But once his friend came and he said to his friend, he opened his right leg and he said, can you see even one little part where there's no wounds? And it was full of wounds. And he showed the other leg, then he showed the arm, then he showed the other arm, then he showed the chest. His full body, every part of it was, there were wounds there. And he said, why could I not get shahada? Why could I not get shahada? I wanted shahada because he knew the most beloved thing to him was shahada, passing away in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this friend, he said to him, oh Khalid, didn't you know the day Allah's messenger gave you the title Saifullah was the day the door of shahada closed for you. Was the day the door of shahada closed to you. Khalid said, why? What do you mean? He said, because the day Allah's Rasul gave you the title Saifullah, the sword of Allah, that was the day it meant you could never get shahada. Because if you got shahada, that would mean that the enemy of Allah has broken the sword of Allah. And it would never be possible for any enemy of Allah to break the sword of Allah. And Khalid radiallahu anhu, he understood the reason, but even then, he was really upset and he wanted shahada. And then Khalid radiallahu anhu, he passed away while, for the last 4 years of his life, he was not allowed to fight. And it was a very difficult time for him. But despite that, they say from Fajr till Zohar, Khalid radiallahu anhu used to sit and read the Quran. Fajr till Zohar, read the Quran, and he used to cry. He used to cry when even reading the Quran. And when Khalid radiallahu anhu, he passed away, he left behind his horse, his weapons and slave. And when the news reached Umar radiallahu anhu that Khalid radiallahu anhu has passed away, people started crying. And there was a rule before that people are not allowed to cry. Umar radiallahu anhu used to whip people. That if anyone cries, he whips them. But when they were crying, he said on the likes of Khalid, those who cry should be allowed to cry. On the likes of Khalid, those who cry should be allowed to cry. And the janazah of Khalid radiallahu anhu took place in total silence. When Umar radiallahu anhu heard about the death of Khalid radiallahu anhu, he just sat down. He was just shocked. He just sat down. And then when the janazah took place, it took place in total silence. And the historians, they write that even the horse of Khalid radiallahu anhu was crying on the janazah of Khalid. Why? Because even the horse knew that no one else is going to be able to fulfill the rights of the horse, like the way Khalid radiallahu anhu was doing. And his horse, his name was horse name was Ashqar. Even that horse was crying on the time of janazah. And Khalid radiallahu anhu, he passed away approximately, he was about 58 to 60 years old when he passed away. He was only Muslim for 13 years. There's many lessons to learn from the story of Khalid. This was just, the glimpse of it. We need to read more and learn more about our heroes. Khalid radiallahu anhu, and inshallah next week is going to be Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, the ulama, they take a buzz just from the name of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Abdullah, the servant of Allah, the son of the blessed. And inshallah next week is going to be Abdullah ibn Mubarak, and the week after is going to be Salahuddin Ayyubi. So brothers requested to participate in all of these. This is just the start, just the glimpse. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates the status of Khalid radiallahu anhu. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates the love of Khalid radiallahu anhu in the heart of each and every ummati of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unites us with the likes of Khalid radiallahu anhu in Jannah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, Azan will take place now and Salah will take place in 5 minutes. Jazakallah.